Look closely at the digital infrastructure of the modern world, and you'll find a single software platform quietly operating in the background. It is used by the CIA to track targets, by the Ukrainian military to coordinate artillery, and by local police departments to monitor neighborhoods. The man behind this apparatus is Alex Karp, a billionaire with a PhD in neoclassical social theory, who confidently claims his company has built the most important software in the world. Given its roster of clients, Palantir sounds like the ultimate corporate villain, a surveillance machine vacuuming up our private lives, packaging our personal data, and selling it to the highest bidder. But Palantir's own narrative tells a different story. The company identifies strictly as a data processor, maintaining that they don't collect, store, or sell a single byte of user information. One biographer summed up their corporate defense with a simple analogy. Palantir argues they just build the toaster. If the user decides to burn the toast, you don't blame the appliance. It's a neat defense. But if Palantir doesn't own or harvest our information, we have to ask how their technology became the central engine fueling mass deportations and controversial police operations. The government already possesses mountains of data on its citizens. The problem is that this information is trapped in thousands of disconnected silos, from tax records to border crossings, that can't easily talk to each other. Palantir's flagship products, Gotham and Foundry, act as the plumbing that drains those isolated databases and pools the information into a single interactive detective board. Recently unsealed FOIA documents show exactly how this works on the ground. When Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents pursued targets, they used a custom Palantir app called Falcon to track people hour by hour using live cell tower logs. Agents didn't just map locations. They could instantly cross-reference those GPS pings with data extracted from confiscated phones and names pulled from the government's SEVIS student visa records. Palantir's strength lies in providing the mechanical capability to weaponize existing, sprawling records, granting the state a level of targeting precision that was previously impossible. We can see the sociological impact of this integration in domestic policing. Researchers embedded with the LAPD found that Palantir's software turned a reactive law enforcement agency into a proactive intelligence-gathering machine. Officers were no longer building files exclusively on suspected criminals. By following the software's algorithmic connections, they started mapping out the lives of completely innocent people based entirely on loose associations with a target. This creates an environment ripe for a legally dubious tactic known as parallel construction. In practice, police can use an impossibly wide digital dragnet to identify a suspect. Once they have their target, they hide the original surveillance method by working backward to build a completely separate conventional evidence trail to present in court. The software provides an aura of mathematical objectivity. A case built on predictive analytics looks clean and empirical on paper, smoothly masking the historical racial biases that drive who the police choose to look at in the first place. That fear of hidden biases and unaccountable access recently crossed the Atlantic, when the UK government granted Palantir a multi-million-pound contract to manage identifiable patient data for the National Health Service. It sparked immediate public outrage. It is a sharp irony for Alex Karp. He grew up in a progressive environment and once remarked that if fascism ever arrived, he would be the first person on the wall. Yet today, he actively defends supplying his software to military and immigration agencies as a necessary measure for defending Western values. To assuage public fears, Palantir points to the technical guardrails built into their platforms. They argue that strict access controls and audit logs are hard-coded to protect civil liberties. But as former employees have pointed out, the software doesn't automatically enforce those protections. It is entirely up to the client, the police department or the intelligence agency, to decide who gets access and who checks the logs. Palantir sets up the system, then steps away from the consequences. Which brings us back to the toaster. A kitchen appliance is a neutral object, but a sprawling data integration engine built specifically to grant the state omniscient targeting capabilities carries its own inherent ideology. Under a surveillance infrastructure this complete, the nature of guilt shifts. Citizens no longer have to commit an actual crime to draw the attention of the state. They simply have to lead an incriminating life.